Hey, good morning. So, yeah, I had a late night. Um, One of my voice students, she is doing a recital in March, and so we were having a run through with the band. So that was really good, but her band members could not come until like 10 o'clock. And so I was there till almost midnight and then came home. So it was really late. Anywho, I'm just kind of lounging today. Um, I'll probably do some cleaning, even though my house is still looking pretty clean. Um, but, I'll go to work and then come home and my house will be a bit of a disaster. And so it'll just kind of pile up on me. So, anywho, I put Little Miss Muffet down for a real early nap because she was just singing the blues all morning. So, anywho, I wanted to talk today about conflict. Um, it's definitely something that we all have to face and deal with and go through, um, particularly conflict with females. I'm going to be very specific about gender um, in females. Um, just a couple nights ago, my husband had a little bit of a conflict with his guy friend. And, less than, I don't know, 12 hours later, like they were hanging out, they were fine. And I'm sure they didn't sit down and have a conversation about what he said and what the other person said and how it made them feel. Like, guys can just move on. But with females, universally, we're just more emotional. And I know for me personally, it's very hard to let things go. That's just my personality. I want to be like in perfect peace with everybody. I want to hear what they have to say. I want them to be honest with me. And then I want to be able to be honest with them, and I want them to hear me, and I want us to, at the end of the conversation, agree on all points presented, and that's just not reality. So it's really hard for me to get over things, especially when I don't feel heard and when I'm not allowed to express myself. So, again, I think conflict is something that is inevitable, it'll always happen, but it's like stress. We all have stress in our lives, but it's not the stress that's the problem because that's just life. It's how you deal with stress. So, I just want to talk a little bit about dealing with conflict and just my personal experience. Um, and again, specifically to females. Um, I was talking to my girlfriend this morning, and we were talking about the reality show Mary Mary, as opposed to other reality shows. But specifically this one, you know, I've noticed that when Tina and Erica have conflict, they just get it all out there. Like, not everything they say is the best, but they're being honest about how they feel to each other. And at the end of the day, they're still best friends, they're still sisters, and they still love each other. I have not encountered that relationship in my life yet. Um, it seems that when I have conflict with people, and not so much like, no, conflict with people, there's an issue. You know, for me, it takes me a long time to finally get up the nerve to say, okay, I really don't like it when you did this, or when you said such and such and such. Sometimes it goes on for a long time, which is bad because then your feelings build up. Oops. Your feelings build up, and eventually, like, you're going to snap or you're going to explode, and it's not going to come out the right way. And so I've been trying really hard to, when something bothers me, pick and choose. You're always supposed to choose your battles, but pick and choose. Is it worth it for me to bring this up, or can I just let it go? In some cases, you may let things slide for a really long time, and that's not good either. But I've noticed that when I approach people, people who I've been friends with for a long time, sometimes people that I've gotten into a deep friendship very quickly. When you approach them about conflict, in my experience, it just doesn't really go well. Um, and I think it's important that when we approach one another, that there's a mutual agreement to hear each other out, regardless of what the other person is saying. And even if you don't agree with it, you have to remember it's like marriage. You have to remember the reason why you became friends in the first place. Sometimes marriage becomes so difficult um, that you lose that. And that's one thing that you have to remember. Okay, why are we together in the first place? Why did we fall in love in the first place? And when you go back to that, then everything else really doesn't matter. And I think in friendships, um, it's important to remember why we became friends, why we had this mutual attraction to one another, to spend time with one another, whether it's going shopping or having dinner or um, spending time together. Like there had to have been something that drew you in to become friends with that person. Now, for me, I take my friendships very seriously. I'm never just like an acquaintance with someone. If you're my friend, you're my friend. You know, you're going to know about me and I'm going to want to know about you and we are going to build a friendship. I don't just have friends with anybody. If you are my friend, you are in my life and you're very important. Um, but I think that there should be that mutual, um, well, that reminder of why you became friends. And in that, that mutual agreement that when we sit down and talk, we are going to remember why we became friends and not forget that. Because it seems when you start to voice your opinion, people take it so personal and they forget who you are. They forget um, why they became your friend in the first place. It's like none of that matters anymore. You're saying something that I don't necessarily like. Um, I also I also refer back to the scripture that says to be at peace with one another as much as is possible to you. And I'm so grateful that God put that in there, as much as is possible to you. But in that, I think he wants us to know that we need to try. We need to try because the bottom line is to show love. Show love. And if you're showing love, you're putting aside what you think, your feelings, to try to reach the other person because you don't know how God can use you in that relationship. And so, um, but it can be difficult trying to pursue peace with somebody, um, but you're not being heard and the communication is all off, or there's no communication at all. Um, I think overall, um, females in relationships will have conflict. It's very hard not to take everything personal, but even my pastor was talking about that. When people say and do things that you don't like, um, it's very hard not to take it personal, and we shouldn't take it personal. We should find a way to see things from the other person's perspective, in that the way I was raised, the way um, sometimes the choices that I make may be different from you, may be different from your culture, it may be different from how you're raised. A lot of times people respond in a negative way based on past relationships that they've had that have gone sour. And so to put yourself in and the person's place and to see it from their perspective is a difficult thing to do. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit from my heart about that. Conflict is difficult if you and the other person are not seeking the same goal, and that is to just like hang out, continue hanging out, and being friends, and going shopping and doing the things that you do. That should be the ultimate goal. But it's kind of hard at times to put our feelings aside and to focus on that. And so, anyways, that's all I have for today. I may check in later, later on today. But anyway, God bless you. Bye.